Hello, good evening, everyone. How are you today? Um, my name is Ifama Odunlami, immigration attorney from the Odunlami law firm. And I have some breaking news, and I'm here to give you the scoop on this breaking news. So join me, and when you come in, please say hello, comment, and let us get started. This is news of the press. And I just read it really quickly and I said, you know what? I need to tell my people this, let my immigration family know what's going on. And so thank you for joining me. Hello, King Solomon. How are you? Hello, Ronchetta. How are you? Hello, Scroll Watches. Hello, Chocolate Fountain. That sounds good. Hello, oh Jesus. So I can't wait to discuss this news with you guys. For those who do not know me, my name is Ifama Odunlami. I'm an immigration attorney from the Odunlami law firm. We're located in New Jersey, but our law firm serves clients in all 50 states because immigration is federal law. Hi, James. How are you? Thank you for joining. So, this is what is going on. I just saw this in the news. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago when some migrants came in and Governor Desantis and Governor Desantis, and I know Texas governor, they all got into this. I guess what they thought was a really fantastic idea to put the migrants into planes, into buses, and ship them off to, I guess, democratic states such as Massachusetts, right? So this is what happened. We just got breaking news that those migrants have been awarded a U visa. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. A U visa is for victims of crimes. And so this is what happened. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to be looking at my screen because I don't remember all the details. So the migrants, under the instructions of Desantis, which was a totally political move, because Desantis believes that immigrants should not come into Florida, and so basically he was using this as a ploy to get immigrants out of Florida. So it appears that he sponsored some of these migrants. They lied to them, told them that they had jobs for them, told them they had places for them to stay, and they got them to get into the planes, them and their children. They were put on the planes and they were taken to Martha's Vineyard. Now, Governor DeSantis and his colleagues had nothing for these people. They didn't even call the local authorities in Martha's Vineyard to warn them that they were bringing these people there. So there was nowhere for them. There was no arrangement with any local authority or anybody really about how to place these migrants. So a lot of the migrants, they went in there because they were told they were fraudulently induced to board the train, board the plane. And so now, if they had boarded the plane on their own because they wanted to go, that would have been okay. But they lied to them, right, to induce them to get on the plane, them and their children. And so what happened is some lawyers felt that this would qualify as kidnapping in some states. And under that's how these migrants got the U visa. So they haven't gotten the green card yet. They've just gotten the U visa, which after 3 years on the U visa, they can now apply to get a green card. So let's talk about the U visa. And I want to get comments on what you guys think about this this program that was sponsored by DeSantis that is coming to bite him. It was such a horrible thing to take this family with their children, take them to a place where they had no support system, no homes, no jobs, nothing. And the fact that the migrants were able to were able to get anything, it was a human decency of volunteers who were scrambling to get them places to stay, scrambling to get them food. But the plan of the governor was basically to leave them there, abandon them. But unfortunately for him, this is now a problem for him. And the migrants have been able to get a U visa status. So let's talk about U visa for those that do not know what a U visa is, right? And this is what I tell you guys, you got to pay attention, keep your ears glued to what's going on, because you never know when you might qualify for something that may not seem like it would be the pathway for you. So let's talk about the U visa. A U visa is for victims of crimes. It's also for bystander witnesses of crimes. So you can be a direct victim, which means you suffered, you're a victim of the crime, or you can be an indirect victim. You witnessed the crime, your child was a victim of the crime, and you suffered as a result. So for you to qualify for the U visa, you have to show that you suffered substantial physical or mental abuse from having been a victim of a crime. You have firsthand knowledge of the criminal activity. You have been helpful, or you're likely to be helpful in the investigation or prosecution of the crime. And that crime, of course, is a qualifying crime. And I want to read out what the qualifying crimes are under the U visa. There's abusive sexual contact, there's blackmail, there's domestic violence. Now, you guys, what you're getting here is the U visa does not require you to be married to a US citizen or a green card holder or have a father or parent or child that is a US citizen or green card holder. This is a humanitarian pathway that allows you to get a green card on your own. It's a self-petition based on being the victim of a crime or having witnessed a crime and told the police about it, right? So I'll continue. It's extortion, it's false imprisonment, it's female genital mutilation. Those are qualifying U visa crimes. It's felonious assault. It's fraud in foreign labor contracting. It's being held hostage. It's incest. It's involuntary servitude. It's kidnapping, which is what Governor Desantis and his people have been charged with. Well, they're not being charged with it, but that's the allegation against them. It's manslaughter. It's murder. It's obstruction of justice. It's peonage. It's perjury. It's prostitution. It's rape. It's sexual assault. It's sexual exploitation. It's slave trade. It's stalking. It's torture. It's trafficking, witness tampering, unlawful criminal restraints, and there's a catch-all. So we have been very successful at my firm in helping people file the U visa, get their pathway to a green card through the U visa. And the thing I love about the U visa is it doesn't have a statute of limitation. Like, you don't have to file within a certain time. It could have happened 20 years ago, 25 years ago. In fact, we've had crimes that happened such a long time ago. We were hard pressed to get the police report, but we're able to get it. We're able to get the police to sign off on it, because that's another important thing about the U visa. You must have the police sign the certificate of helpfulness. The certificate of helpfulness pretty much says that you're helpful to the police, which could be as little as just reporting the crime to them, or showing that you're available if they wanted to ask you questions, whether or not they actually asked you questions, right? So we've been able to, once you get, well, let me scroll back. So once you get the certificate of helpfulness, then you can apply for the U visa. You can put in your U visa application. Without having the certificate of helpfulness signed by a law authorities, it can be the police, it can be a prosecutor, it can be a judge. Without getting that, you cannot file a U visa. That's a mandatory requirement, okay? So the good thing about the U visa, like I said, is there's no time bars. You can file it regardless of when the crime occurred, right? Could have happened dozens of years ago, it could have happened recently, it doesn't matter. But the one thing you must know, and I want to make sure that you guys understand this, you have to have been willing to help the police. So let me give you an example of somebody who could have gotten a green card through the U visa, but unfortunately didn't. So I had this potential client that came to my office, and we found out, actually, I was screening her for something totally different. Her mother wanted to file for her, right? But she came in through the border, and she was over, also I think over 21, maybe 26, 27. So she had two strikes against her that would prevent her from, adjusting her status. Number one, she came in through the border. She can't adjust status. She will need to leave, go back outside, and with a waiver, if she had a waiver approved. The second thing that went against her was that she was over the age of 21, so there was her priority date would have been way, 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 way in the future. And I think there's a third thing. She had I think a minor crime in her record, which would have required her to file another waiver for the crime. So that was just a mess, So while I was just talking to her and trying to figure out what else she could qualify for, she said she had been a victim of a crime, and I'm not going to go into specifics for privacy purposes. She said she had been a victim of a crime that had happened like 14 years from when she came to me. This was years ago, right? And I was so excited because it was a significant crime. I think she had been stabbed by her partner. And we called the police and to get them to give us a certificate of helpfulness. And we were so confident that it was going to be a fantastic case because the perpetrator had actually gone to jail, right? And of course, you don't need your perpetrator to go to jail. I'm just saying that this seemed like a perfect case, And so the police returned with a letter saying that they were not signing the certificate of helpfulness because she had refused to press charges when they had, reached out to her to get her testimony. And the thing is, they were still able to convict him anyway because the state can prosecute somebody who has committed a crime, even if the victim does not want to prosecute it, and especially when it's clear that especially when it's clear that a crime has been committed. Because when you see state versus this person, that's the state against that person. So her testimony would have been helpful, but she refused to, and she refused to because her family members pressured her not to testify. And now she couldn't get a status through the U visa. And there's many cases that the police don't even. We've gotten clients, the certificate of helpfulness filed where signed by the police when the police are not even, they don't need your testimony, but you reported, and that's good enough. So sometimes it requires a minimum of you showing that you're willing to help the police should they ask. Whether or not they ask is irrelevant. All right. So what I want to tell you today is if you've been a victim of a crime, it doesn't matter how long it took, you should go to the police. Just make sure it's a qualifying crime, because a lot of immigrants are afraid to go to the police because they are afraid of, that because they're, that if they're undocumented, that the police could turn them over to ICE. Now, the priority of the police in a situation where somebody is a victim is to protect that victim, right? So really, you should not be afraid to go to the police. Now, I'm not going to talk about places like Florida and Texas because they have their own laws and I don't know what it's about. But I know that if you're a victim of a crime, right, you really should go to the police, all right? And there's due process. That means that, if, there's due process, you're not going to be picked up and thrown out, thrown out of the country. For those people who don't have an outstanding order of deportation, there has to be a process that, you can defend. So I guess what I'm saying is if you've been a victim of a crime, there's a pathway for you to get your green card through the U visa. And there's discretion from ICE authorities. There's usually discretion when you have a pending U visa, T visa, VAWA case, not to deport you. Now, there is not, you don't get deferred action by filing. Don't get me wrong, you don't get deferred action by filing, but they are encouraged, that is, ICE officials are encouraged to basically not prosecute people who have pending U visa, T visas, VAWA, because they're victims of some kind of crime, So, this, I want you guys to understand that there are pathways that are there to help people who are victims of crimes, people who are victims of trafficking, people who have been abused by their significant, their partners, their spouses, or just even partners. Like if you look at the U visa, right? If your spouse or the person who assaulted you is not a US citizen or green card holder, that does not matter. If you go to a police station, or sorry, a gas station, and you witness a violent crime, like maybe there's somebody holding up a gas station with a gun and you witnessed it, that could lead you to a pathway where you can get a green card through the U visa. If you've been the victim of stalking, if you've been the victim of domestic violence. So the important thing is, if you have been a victim of a crime, the first thing you want to do is report to the police, right? Because we're going to need the police to sign that certificate of helpfulness, right? That's what lets you, put you on the pathway to getting a U visa. Now, there's a visa type, the T visa, that doesn't require the police to sign, right? And the T visa is called trafficking. So there's trafficking situations, even in domestic situations. Like there's trafficking even with a spouse, trafficking with parents, trafficking with family members who take advantage of an undocumented person, right, for labor or for sex, or for commercial sex. So the important thing is you need to talk to a lawyer who does a lot of humanitarian work so that they can figure out what pathway is available to you. I cannot tell you how many potential clients that come to my office thinking that they have a pathway one way and we find a better pathway for them, or people who just want to say, you know what, I've been here for so long, I don't know if there's any pathway for me. And like there's a consultation I had the other day, and the person I spoke with basically had been here for like maybe 20 years, and didn't have a U.S. citizen child, didn't have a green card holder child, didn't have a U.S. citizen parent, nothing. There's just no pathway family-wise. Of course, they could not get their papers through employment because they were out of status. And so I said, digging like all the way to the beginning. When did you come in? Why did you come in? And I found out that they came in here because somebody promised them a job, right? And when they came here, that person took advantage of them, paid them very little money, and threatened them with, reporting them to ICE and getting deported if they complained, and basically forced them into what we call involuntary servitude. And we're able to show that this is a severe form of trafficking, right? Because there are other things you need to show. So if you have been in this country and you have somebody who has exploited you for, exploited your labor, so that you could work for them with little money, no money, or put you in dangerous situations, or put you in harm's way and didn't let you file for workers' compensation so you could get compensated, or even let you get proper treatment, and that person held you, in involuntary servitude where you were afraid to leave, or you were afraid to report them because they knew you were undocumented and there was some kind of threat, whether direct or indirect. That could be a pathway for even either the U or the T visa, because the U visa also has, trafficking as one of the crimes. It also has, what does it call it now? I think it calls it fraud in foreign labor contracting. It has peonage. It has sexual exploitation, sexual assault. So there are many ways that you can get legal status. It's just important for you to get that consultation with a knowledgeable attorney. My law firm serves to assist people in these kind of cases. So let me take some questions, because as you guys know, I gotta run and go pick up my son from school. So let's start with hey Monique, how are you? So let me go back all the way. Badmus, thank you for joining. So Mohammed Akram says, can I file a U visa petition? My VAWA, well, can I file a U visa petition? My VAWA petition was approved. Now I'm waiting to file my green card interview. I'm waiting for my green card interview. Meanwhile, if I marry to a Canadian citizen, can I file U visa to get her work permit? Your question is not clear. I thought you got a VAWA petition approved, not a U visa. So, Mohammed, your question is not clear, but I'm going to assume that you're saying that you got your VAWA petition approved and you're waiting for your green card interview. So, until you get your green card, you can't file for anybody because a VAWA approval is not a green card. Okay. So you want to get your green card and you want to then be able to file for your Canadian citizen partner. But remember, your green card, for you to be able to file for your Canadian partner, they have to be in legal status if they are here in the United States. And so that's something you want to watch because there's there's a backlog for green card holders filing for their spouses. Now, if your Canadian citizen spouse is in Canada, of course, you can file and then they can come over. Reaction says, my baby daddy just became a citizen. Does that make my daughter a citizen? She lives with me, but undocumented. She's 3 years old. So reactions, there are a lot of questions I would want to ask, but off the top, because there's a chart that really discusses that, but off the top of my head, I'm going to tell you that if your baby daddy became a citizen, he has to file for his child because if your baby daddy was a citizen before your baby was born, then likely she would have become a citizen automatically, subject to several things. But I think that based on what you're telling me and without having more information, I would encourage your baby daddy to file for his daughter. Okay. So let's see, more questions. Koda says, I have a friend who got to the US with a F1 visa and he lost his status after 1 year of being in the US. Then he got married to a US citizen. Then after some months of marriage, he's getting divorced from his wife. In May 2023, he won the DV lottery. Currently, he has no status in the United States. So he wants to apply his DV lottery green card. If he's not in status, he's not going to be able to get that DV lottery green card. You need to be in status to be able to get that, okay? All right. Alaji says, hey, hope you spoke with my friend yesterday about his case. I told him you're the best lawyer and he believes that 100%. Alaji, I'm not sure who your friend is, but send me an email. Let me know who your friend is and I'll let you know if I spoke to your friend. So Koda wants to know if it's possible to get his conditional green card interview waived. It's possible, but it's not guaranteed. US CIS officers have the discretion to decide whether or not to waive a conditional green card interview. All right. So let me go to Instagram, answer a few questions, and then I will. All right, I don't think I have any questions. I'm not seeing any questions on Instagram. All right, guys, I think that's if I have to rush out, but leave your questions on here. I will try to come back, answer some of them, or they could be the basis of a new Facebook Live. So take care, everyone, and thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.